Brock, the Rock-type gym leader of Pewter City and the first major battling challenge that we face in any of the main series Pokemon games. Both in the anime and in the games, Brock is first introduced to us as a hardened warrior who will absolutely decimate any trainer that comes to challenge him with his ruthless power. However, in the anime, we later find out that Brock has a softer side as well through his blatant obsession and endless failures with women, and his aspirations to become a top breeder in order to care for Pokemon, which are also reflected in the anime-based Pokemon Yellow game and its later remakes, the Let's Go games. In the other main series games, however, this softer side is only really evident through his expression of respect and admiration for the protagonists that are able to defeat him. Brock is truly a trainer that is able to fulfill his role as a fierce gym leader, yet retain an element of humanity that is only seen outside of battle. Unfortunately, Brock's Pewter City Gym is in a rather odd location that compromises our ability to see his true skill as a trainer. Pewter City, of course, comes right after Viridian Forest, where weak beginner trainers are known to pass through, such as the protagonist that we play as in the early games. As such, just like a gym leader is required to do, Brock has to consistently accommodate these novice trainers by purposefully using his weaker Pokemon, depending on how many gym badges the challenging trainer has. But we know that there's more to him than this. It's time to figure out what this gym leader's best possible Pokemon team is given all the Pokemon available at his disposal from all of the games that he's featured in. It's time to discover Brock's true power. We of course meet Brock for the first time in Pokemon Red and Blue. Depending on what starter you choose at the beginning of your journey, his team can actually cause a significant amount of trouble. Brock starts off with his level 12 Geodude, which is followed by a level 14 Onix. If you chose Bulbasaur or Squirtle as your Pokemon, you'll likely breeze through this battle since they learn good grass and water moves pretty early on respectively. However, if you chose Charmander, you're likely to have quite a tough time with this gym battle. In the grand scheme of things though, Brock's team is exceptionally weak, being outclassed by regular trainers only a couple routes later. It's worthy to note that in the Red and Blue remakes, FireRed and LeafGreen, Brock has pretty much the same team, but with Onix also having Rock Tomb to provide a little bit more of a challenge. Interestingly enough, Brock's Red and Blue or FireRed and LeafGreen teams are not actually the weakest teams we see him with. In Pokemon Yellow, since the player is limited to having Pikachu as their starter, Game Freak decided to come up with a couple ways to make the battle a bit more manageable. First off, Brock's team's levels decrease slightly, with his Geodude being level 10 and his Onix being level 12, both 2 levels lower than their Red and Blue counterparts. In addition to this, a fighting-type Pokemon, Mankey, was made available in the earlier routes, being found in Route 22 just west of Viridian City, only in Pokemon Yellow. Nidoran was kept in Route 22 as well, although it was given the fighting-type move Double Kick earlier than before, at level 12 instead of level 43 as in Red and Blue, making Brock a much easier challenge. As we're about to see, however, Brock was definitely holding back in these battles and became far more powerful later on. The next time we encounter Brock is in Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal, which occur 3 years after the events of Red and Blue. After having defeated all 8 of the gym leaders in the Johto region, the protagonist decides to make their way through the Kanto region to challenge its gym leaders as well. Not only has Brock become far stronger with 3 more years of training under his belt, but he also knows that he doesn't really have to hold back, since the challenging trainer already has 8 gym badges, as shown by his excitement when the first thing he says is, "Wow, it's not often that we get a challenger from Johto." Brock's team in Gold, Silver, and Crystal is significantly stronger than what we've previously seen. He starts off with a level 41 Graveler, which we can assume evolved from the Geodude he used in Gen 1. His Onix has also become far more powerful and is now at level 44. Brock also has 3 new members to his team, a level 41 Rhyhorn and 2 new fossil Pokemon, which makes sense since the museum is right behind his gym and Mount Moon is nearby, a level 42 Omastar and a level 42 Kabutops, which both add some diversity to his team's typings with their secondary water types. Brock is next found in the remakes of Gold and Silver, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver. Our first encounter with Brock in these games actually takes place under similar circumstances to the one we have with him in Gold and Silver, where the protagonist challenges him after having defeated all of the gyms in Johto. He has the same 5 Pokemon, although their levels are substantially higher this time around and their movesets are also updated. His Graveler is now level 51, His Rhyhorn is level 51 as well, his Omastar is level 53, and his Kabutops is level 52, and his Onix is now level 54. At this point, Brock is starting to look like a very solid trainer, but it's not the most powerful we see him in these games. In Heart Gold and Soul Silver, there is a feature where if you get a particular gym leader's number, you can actually rematch them by going to the Fighting Dojo in Saffron City, which of course used to be the gym there until Sabrina established her own gym. Brock is one of these trainers, and he can be rematched on Saturday nights with an exceptionally strong team. In this rematch, Brock has a full team of 6, starting off with his finally fully evolved Golem at level 55, his Omastar and Kabutops at levels 56 and 55, and his Onix at a whopping level 61, along with 2 brand new team members, a Relicanth at level 54, and a very strong Rampardos at level 57. Brock's next appearance, and his second last one in the main series games, occurs at the end of Gen 5 in Black 2 and White 2. These games featured a predominantly post-game element called the Pokémon World Tournament, a tournament in which the strongest trainers from around the world compete to select the world champion. In the Pokémon World Tournament, also known as the PWT, there are a few types of tournaments that the player can enter into, and Brock makes an appearance in 3 of these, but only uses 2 different teams. It's worthy to note that while all the Pokemon in the World Tournament are automatically set to level 50, we can see new additions to Brock's Pokemon collection and how competitively viable his Pokemon have become. In the Kanto Leaders Tournament, Brock has a very similar team to his Fighting Dojo team, with an Onix, Golem, Kabutops, Omastar, and Relicanth, but he also owns an Aerodactyl now, confirming that he has all 3 of the original Gen 1 fossil Pokemon. His Pokemon's movesets have also improved dramatically, with, for instance, his Kabutops having Stab Stone Edge and Stab Priority Aqua Jet, along with Superpower and Swords Dance, to give one example. In the Type Expert and World Leaders tournaments, Brock features quite an impressive team, with Onix, Golem, Kabutops, Tyranitar, Aerodactyl, and Rhyperior, with, of course, the beastly Tyranitar and Rhyperior that we have not seen from him yet. Yet again, this team has competitively viable movesets and even rocks some amazing items, including an Eevee on the Onix, a Choice Scarf on the Aerodactyl, and a Focus Sash on the Kabutops. Brock's final appearance in the franchise so far occurred in the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee games. At the beginning of the game, he has a similar team to the Gen 1 games, with a level 11 Geodude and a level 12 Onix, which is to be expected given that this is a Pokemon Yellow remake after all. However, unlike in Gen 1, the player can actually rematch Brock after becoming champion. Interestingly, Brock even says prior to the rematch, "The truth is, gym leaders have the right to challenge the champion. Please allow me the privilege of facing you in battle once again." Since Brock knows that he's facing the Kanto region champion, he does seem to use some of his absolute best Pokemon, but strangely enough, he only uses 5 of them. In this battle, Brock goes for his level 56 Onix, 56 Kabutops, 56 Omastar, 56 Aerodactyl, and his level 57 Golem, some of which are at the highest level we've ever seen them at, and they all have pretty solid movesets too. Throughout the main series Pokemon games, we have seen some impressive showings from Brock that not only demonstrate his growth as a trainer, but also just how much he's held back in some of the battles. So, the moment we've all been waiting for. What is Brock's best possible team? For his team, the first and most obvious choice for me would have to be Brock's Tyranitar from his Black 2 and White 2 Type Leaders and World Leaders tournament team. Now you may be saying, hold on, we don't know exactly what level this thing is since it's automatically set to level 50 as per the tournament rules. Don't forget though that Pupitar doesn't evolve into Tyranitar until level 55, so we know that that is the minimum level that this thing is currently at. Competitively speaking, Tyranitar is definitely the best Pokemon it has in terms of tiers, since it's his only OU Pokemon. And with moves like Stab Stone Edge and Payback, as well as Thunder Punch and Ice Punch for type coverage, this thing is pretty beastly and is definitely a staple for Brock's team. In the second slot, we're going to put another one of Brock's more beastly looking Pokemon, his Rhyperior, from his Black 2 and White 2 Type Leaders and World Leaders tournament team. Now, Rhyperior is another one where we run into the problem of his automatic level 50 set that happens in the Pokemon World Tournament. However, if we look closely, his Rhyperior knows Mega Horn, which is learned at the very earliest by Rhyhorn at level 57 in Gens 3 and 4. And we know Brock has had his Rhyhorn since at least Gen 2. Since Brock's Rhyhorn was still unevolved even at level 51, I think it's safe to assume he might have kept it unevolved until then. Add the one additional level that Rhyhorn must have to evolve into Rhydon after that, and the very lowest that Brock's Rhyperior's level must be is 58. Add Rhyperior's powerful stats, RU tier placement, and stab moves such as Stone Edge and Earthquake, and this is definitely a major powerhouse of Brock's team. Next, we have to include Brock's level 56 Aerodactyl from Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Aerodactyl is definitely another one of his higher tier competitive Pokemon at NU, and is the only Pokemon he has that isn't weak to grass, so for that reason it's also really important that it's on his team. Aerodactyl also provides some much needed speed with its wicked base speed of 130, and has even been shown to use Tailwind in the past, which can help the rest of his Pokemon too. Add stab moves like Rock Slide with a chance to flinch, and this is definitely one of Brock's best Pokemon. The fourth spot is going to go to Brock's Omastar, which is level 56 in both Heart Gold and Soul Silver and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Not only does this thing provide some more type coverage and is also one of his higher level Pokemon, but it also provides a much needed special attacker on his team since Rock is usually such a physically oriented type. With stab moves such as Hydro Pump and Ancient Power, which has a 10% chance to raise all his stats, and other coverage moves such as Earth Power and Ice Beam, Omastar provides some great diversity and is definitely a necessity on his team despite its PU tier placement. Up next is another fossil Pokemon, Kabutops, which is level 56 on his Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee team. Although it is another water and rock Pokemon, it is definitely one of his higher tier Pokemon and has great stab moves such as Rock Slide and Aqua Jet, and also provides some more needed speed for his team despite it also being in the PU tier. And filling in the final spot on Brock's best possible team, we have his level 57 Rampardos from the Heart Gold and Soul Silver Fighting Dojo rematch. Despite currently being untiered, the rest of Brock's viable Pokemon are also untiered, and this is probably the best choice. Rampardos' high level, massive attack stat, stab Stone Edge, and access to Rock Polish to increase its speed a little more allow it to be a reasonable option and is the best choice that we have for Brock's final Pokemon. Now, Brock does have a couple other Pokemon that are worth mentioning but don't quite stand up to these six. First, his level 57 Golem in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which could very well take the spot of Rampardos, but is very slightly outclassed overall. His level 61 Onix from the Heart Gold and Soul Silver Fighting Dojo rematch, which, despite possibly being his highest level Pokemon, is kind of terrible in terms of stats, even with the Eviolite item. Somehow he has still not evolved this thing in the main series game. I don't know how. And finally, his level 54 Relicanth from the Heart Gold and Soul Silver Fighting Dojo rematch. Well, there we go everyone, we have discovered Brock's true power and unveiled his strongest possible team. If you enjoyed this video and are looking forward to more from this series, please be sure to leave a like, share it with a friend who you think might enjoy it, and subscribe with notifications on by hitting that bell icon if you haven't already. Videos like these do take a ton of work, so all forms of support are really appreciated and help more than you know. Don't forget to comment down below with what trainer you wish to see next from anywhere from Gen 1 to Gen 4. The comment with the most likes will pick the trainer for the next week's episode and will be featured on screen. This has been SilphSpectre, and I'll see you guys next time for more True Power.